Welcome to the Social University Podcast. We are so glad you're joining us today because we want to help business owners, entrepreneurs, and people just like you who want to build their business online. Listen, if we can do it, you can do it. So let's go.
Good morning. I'm Karen Terradas with Social U, and it is time for What's Up Wednesday, where we come to you live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. to talk about social media tips, tricks, and trends. We have a killer schedule for August. Next month, we're going to talk about the history of social media, which I think will be a lot of fun. Just kind of take a look at where it all started and where it's going. August the 9th, we're going to talk about how much you should budget for your business for digital marketing. We do get that question a lot. What is effective? How much do I need to be concerned about? August 16th, we're going to talk about ways to engage the community beyond just responding to the comments. How do you get somebody to actually engage with your posts? On the 23rd, we're going to have a special guest. Ben Deloach with WP Site Mason is going to come talk to us about SEO and simple things you can do to improve your site's SEO. And then August 30th, we're going to do a bonus live Q&A. So get your questions ready because it is coming. This week, our last Wednesday in July, we're going to talk about branding do's and don'ts. So first and foremost, let's talk about what is a brand. So according to HubSpot, which is one of the few resources I deeply trust, a brand is the identity and story of a company that makes it stand out from competitors that sell similar products or services. The entire goal of branding is to earn like mind space in the target audience and become the preferred option for your clients. That is the entire objective. Brands are a super effective way for companies to communicate their vision and really clarify what your company stands for and why. So that is what a brand is. So what is branding? Branding is the process of creating the company identity and includes support materials like your logo and your tagline. So very similar. Your brand is kind of how you decide you want to represent your business, and branding is the action of putting that together to represent your business. So what are the benefits of branding? What does it matter? What does it matter if you have your logo on your images online? Who cares? There are several issues with the importance of branding. Number one, it makes your company more memorable and recognizable to clients. Most people have to see your brand, get used to you. The old stat was 14 times. I think the new stat is closer to 21. I'd be willing to bet you it's higher now, simply because people are inundated with images and information constantly. There's a barrage of information. So you have to see the same thing multiple times before it really gets in your head. So you'll buy it or at least go look at it on the website. Number two, it attracts your ideal customer. It helps you build trust and credibility. That continuity where you're constantly showing up and you're letting them know that you're available. And here we are. It makes you, that's who I saw them. That's who I want to deal with. And you want your brand to attract your ideal customer, and you actually want it to repel your not or less ideal customer. Repelling can be a good thing. Number three, it creates customer loyalty because they get used to seeing you. They'll go look for you. Number four, it helps you stand out from the competition. Look around at some of your competitors and see if their images are branded. See if they're using consistent branding on their Instagram feed. See if they're using branding, period, because so many businesses just don't. There's no consistency. They use whatever font they feel like. They use whatever color they're in the mood for that day. And consistency really does matter. Number five, it builds financial value. It helps you build brand equity. So when you get ready to sell your business, the value is higher. Number six, it tells a better story. You can no doubt take a glance at our Instagram feed and you know it's us. You see purple literally splashed across everything we do. And then, of course, it prevents copyright issues anytime you watermark or you put your logo. It makes it so much harder for people to take your stuff. That is not so much an issue in our industry, but it is an issue in several industries. It's becoming more and more popular for people to kind of swipe videos from TikTok and Instagram. So when you have that watermark or that logo on there that you can't get rid of, It makes it harder for people to take it and claim it as yours. And even if they do take it and try to share it with other folks, your information's on there, so it will come back to you, which is, ideal. That's what you want. So let's talk about do's and don'ts for your actual logo. If you don't get anything else from today except this one thing, keep it simple. Keep it simple. It's difficult to print a complicated logo with clarity. If you're a coffee house and you want a coffee cup with steam coming out of it, and then it's on a saucer and there's a spoon on the saucer, and then behind that there's a plate with a muffin on it, it's too much. Simplicity. It needs to be, think about the most famous logos that you've ever seen. Nike, Coca-Cola. They're very simple, single images. Simple. Let me say it again. Simple for clarity. You need to also think about your target client, because as you're creating your logo, you want to appeal to them. If you are a men's company that does men's sports equipment, you wouldn't have a feminine scrolly logo. It wouldn't make any sense. So it is important to consider your ideal target. Okay, now fonts in the do section. Select a font that's easy to read that matches your company style. Again, you wouldn't have a scrolly font as a male-dominated company. But I know you guys have seen logo fails. Before you print it, before you agree to it, show it to somebody who doesn't know you and doesn't know your business, and see if they understand what it means or if it's easy to read. There was a boutique that opened down the street from our office, and the sign was illegible. I, to this day, have no idea what that store was called, and they didn't stay in business long because the sign was impossible to read. I still don't know what it said. Make sure you have a primary and a secondary font, and they're complementary to each other. They don't clash. You cannot put everything in the same font always. Ideally, you want one that's a header font that gets attention, and then you want your secondary font where you actually do your writing or your text. And they need to be consistent. You also want to test the fonts. Again, for the love of Pete, if it was on a sign, could you read it? The more female-dominated industries like decor and wedding, a lot of those fonts are so fancy and scrolly, they're just impossible to read. So check it and make sure you can read it. Okay, colors. When you're considering your logo, you definitely want to consider the meaning of different colors. Green has a tendency to be more earthy. It's like if you're a landscaper, it's very normal to have a green logo. Blue is more official. There's a sleeker look to it. It also comes across as professional. You'll see a lot of attorneys and doctors with a blue logo. Red is a passionate or hungry. I mean, you really need to think about what your color means and stands for before you say just randomly, I want my color to be yellow. Yellow may not be a good pick for you. You need to make sure that it fits. You want to keep the colors in line with the company's style. Again, if you are a more female-oriented business, I'm not telling you to have pink. You can have strong colors if you're a female tech company that are sleek and look high tech, but you do need to keep those colors in line with your company's style. And you want to use complementary colors, but you also want to consider your background color. If your logo is, let's say, pink, think about what it's going to look like on a black background. Will you be able to see it? Will you be able to see it on a white background? So many graphics you make have either a very light or a very dark background. And if your logo is illegible or you can't see it at all, not even noticeable, that's problematic. So make sure that your color works with background colors. And make sure it works in different sizes. Again, if it's super complicated, you can't blow it up. And if it's super detailed, you can't make it tiny. If you wanted to have a hat or a shirt made and your logo is small, it just becomes a blob because there's no way to make details in something that is so, there's no way to make differentiating details in something that has so much going on. That's why it's important to keep it simple. A good example, I mentioned this as we started, like a coffee shop. Think about Friends, and the logo for Central Perk was just a coffee cup, which would look good on just about anything. And you would understand what that coffee cup is, no matter how big it is, whether it's small, whether it's big, it still looks like a coffee cup, just to kind of give you an idea. So let's talk about don'ts, logo don'ts. Again, do not overcomplicate it. It needs to be simple. Do not copy other logos. Wow. Aside from the fact that it's illegal, and a moral, you don't want to be confused with another company. It makes everything confusing, especially if they're a close competitor. You are setting yourself up for disaster. And for a while here, and it's been a few years, a lot of logos had what looked like a mountain range in them, or the spike. So many logos in Birmingham had that. It was impossible to get away from it. Bunch of different companies with a bunch of different ideal clients. I don't know why you would want your logo to look like everybody else. You don't want to use any kind of clip art or stock images, because truly it's not unique enough and it's not easily customizable. Clip art, you can't customize clip art. So if you need to go back and make that logo black so it will appear on a white t-shirt, you can't. So make sure not to use that stock stuff. It's just not going to help you in the long run. Don't overdo it. And when I say, again, overcomplicate, I mean too many colors, too many fonts, too many effects. If you have a gradient or a shadow, it is almost impossible to duplicate that on material. So if you know you're going to have your entire team wear t-shirts with logo and there's a shadow underneath it, that's very difficult to duplicate on material. So keep it simple. It doesn't need to be heavy or cluttered. You don't want it to be distracting or hard to read, or even worse, hard to print. Simple. Don't overdo it. Again, more than 2 fonts is too many. More than 2 colors just about is too many. You want to keep it very simple. And then, of course, you don't want to be inflexible. It should be adaptable in different sizes, different contexts, different colors, so that you can put it on a teeny tiny square for your Instagram image, or you can blow it up and put it on a sign in the ballpark for your kids' football team. It needs to look good no matter what size it is. And that's why, again, I can't say this enough. Keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. So those are some just a kind of a quick overview on branding do's and don'ts. If you guys have any questions or you need any information, please let us know. Don't hesitate to reach out. And until next week, I am Karen Taradis with Social U, and I'm here to help. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for the Social University podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at Stay Social U. That's the letter U. And we will talk to you next week. Remember, you've got this.